Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. This video is for Paul in North Carolina. Okay, so here we have wiring harness, which is called engine harness body mounted. This harness is from V12 Mercedes S-Class. It could be from 600 SCC, S600, 600 SCL, and so on. Also, similar harness is found in SL class, but it's a little different lens. The lenses are different on SL. S class is not compatible. Okay, so this video is basically to show that the harness is finished. I repaired it and it is ready to be mailed out. Just wanted to show what was done and conditions and everything. So let's start from the beginning here. It's hard to say where the beginning and end is because it's an extremely long harness. It goes through the car, it goes through the, see, this is a computer box, and on the other side, that's the driver's side fuse box. So it's a long harness. Some portions go to oxygen sensors inside the vehicle, and so on. Now, well, I guess we'll start at the beginning here. This is oxygen sensor connectors. So as you can see, they're bare because this is what the connector looks like. I zip tied replacement connectors for customers, so when he installs it he can put in these new caps, because original ones are probably brittle and broken, and customer said that one is broken, so I just give him the whole new base with two new caps, so you can put it on when he installs it. So this is the portion that goes inside the vehicle right here, along with this connector and some ground, and it goes into computer box. Now here are connectors, both LH modules, communication bus, CAN bus connectors, and I believe that's a carb or diagnostic connector, something like that. So this came out from the computer box. So the repair was done to exact points on the connectors. As you can see, I also glued them in place as I connected them directly to pins. I soldered new wires directly to pins on both LH modules. Same here, there. Same thing on the secondary LH module. So wires go along inside the original loom all the way. Right here, as you can see, there are other breakpoints. Nothing to do with this particular connector. This is where your injectors harness plug into. This sits on the firewall, not firewall, I'm sorry, on the fender, more or less on the shock tower, kind of. This probably is most likely a little fan or something like that that blows air inside computer box, or yeah, something like that. I mean, I cannot remember each and every connector. I have to look them up, diagrams and all. Some diverter valves and ignition module connector, crank sensor connector. This would be our temperature connectors. Now this plug was replaced because this was broken and brittle, so this is brand new. Ground, this is good. On this side we have the most problematic area that had to be repaired. As you can see, new wires. Well, you can see wires inside, but they're brand new. I didn't wrap them here because I wanted to leave a little bit of flexibility, because when these wires go inside the plastic holder, there's really not much space. They just barely fit in there. So I didn't I didn't wrap them all together because they will be extremely stiff. So this is the most problematic one, mass airflow sensor. So this is mass airflow sensor connector. New wires inside. Two new plugs here. The actual pins were broken as well, so just put new plugs according to diagrams, correct orientation. And this portion right here goes on the other side of the engine, on the driver's side. Same here, we'll find our ignition module connector, which was fine. Crank, a new plug on this one because this was also broken, and secondary mass airflow. So these are good. Okay, I tried to retain as much of the original looms and everything as possible. Tape was friction tape, same one used for any other harnesses on other cars and on Mercedes. So that's how basically it looks. So this portion right here goes on the other side of the car. You know, both of them actually, both of these go together like this, something like that. So they just run along each other. It's just something how it looks, just something like this. So from this area right here, as you can see, this is the run. From this area, first break point on the plastic holder where passenger side mass airflow connects. It's all around here, and then continues going. This is the temperature, some sort of temperature sensor that goes inside your HVAC box on the outside of the car. And the run keeps going. This connection is made inside the plastic holder that holds wires together. And then you have a secondary break point. This is where plastic holder ends, somewhere around here. And this is all open, so the wires are free on driver's side now. So here we have our mass airflow on the driver's side, ignition module next to it sits on the fender, a second wire for the ignition module sits on the same fender, so they connect together, and so on. So that's the secondary side. Like, this is the fuse box wiring. They go inside the fuse box. The reason I'm making this video is just to show that what I have done here. Now, in this portion, we have some power connectors. Like this one, for example, was broken, so this is for AC compressor connector. This goes onto the AC compressor, and I set up the wiring according to the S-class diagrams because the cells are different. So this is set for the S-class. Fans, auxiliary electric fans, first fan and second fan. Okay, these surprisingly they were good, the plugs. As you can see, they go all along. And there's this wire right here. It goes from here, runs along with fans, terminates to bare cables. Now, this is the fan resistors, like first speed, second speed. In fans, we just go activate on lower speed and higher speed. This resistor sits in front of the car, so I didn't find any connectors for this, unfortunately, so I just made them bare, so customer will reattach it to original sensors. So I made them a little longer. This is original loom that it comes with, so I just made them a little longer just in case they're short. So these wires were also bad. They were shorted out and whatnot, so fan could work erratically. When it goes on to low speed, it could just surge up and down because wires were shorting out. The first connection, one of these wires, in other words, goes into this junction right here in this area. Second wire keeps going all around from here and goes back up there. The auxiliary fan connector here, as you can see, one of the wires you can see is extremely thick because this is full tilt, they call it. It's full speed on fans. Second one is through the resistor speed, so the speed is slower. This is where I had to run it, and I would guess that would be all to show here. Another point I was gonna say is that all these wires being not wrapped and loose, that is how it comes from factory, because inside the computer box or fuse box there is not much space, so these wires are all loose in there. It's isolated from outside with these grommets. They're rubber, so it's a seal basically, so no water gets in them. But in there, as you would see on the other side, all of those wires are being loose. That is how they come from the factory. They're all loose in there because you need a little bit of space. All this tape seemed to be also factory tape. I just put couple of areas here. I just put a little bit of tape to keep wires together, but they should be loose, so you can move these connectors around inside the computer box. Space is extremely limited in there, so if you wrap them, they will become extremely stiff like this, so you can't really move them. But that's how they come. This is also factory style wrapping, because I do mine is solid but extremely little overlap, so you can still move it. Factory makes these spaces so the harness is not super tight, so you can still sort of bend it, so you can just conform it to shape you need this harness to be laid down. And I do this basically a little different, whereas the overlap is minimum, so if you need to conform it, you can still. So this is basically it. I mean, I think I did well. This was a long harness and pretty much lots of work here just to do the mass airflows. It's a whole day, plus I spent another maybe half a day to do the fan because it's long and I wanted to go through original loom. Bunch of insulation was stuck inside the loom because it all broke off once you touched the wire, and rewrap it. Basically 2/3 of this harness is rewrapped. There's just small portion that's original right here. The rest is all rewrapped because original factory wrapping was falling apart. Some new connectors put on, and that's about it. Okay, and well, these connectors, like I said, these are for oxygen sensors. They will remain on that, zip tied, so when customer receives it, you can just cut off zip ties and use connectors appropriately. Okay, well, this is it. This is for Paul in North Carolina, V12 S600 wiring harness that had bad mass airflow sensor wiring, some connectors broken, and a resistor for auxiliary electric fans. Wiring portion was also bad. It's all repaired and ready to be mailed out. My name is Victor at restoringmercedes.com. If you have any harnesses to be repaired, just like this one, just call me. You can find my contact information on the website, and I can repair it for you. Again, removing this harness from the vehicle is extremely difficult. It's a very long harness, there's lots of wires, bunch of connectors. It's very hard. So I prefer to work on these when they're inside the vehicle, as I've done many cars, like when they come in on the trailer, flatbed or whatever, and being delivered, and I rewire it when the harness is not removed from the vehicle. It's just I find it a little easier to do. I can do it in one day, whereas here you looking at labor removing it. But of course, if you're in California or somewhere other state, I'm in New York, so if you're in California, it's going to take forever, and more, it's actually going to be expensive to bring the whole car over because it's a big heavy car. So obviously you might want to consider removing it and mailing it over, and I can certainly fix it. Alright, again, this was Victor at restoringmercedes.com. Thanks for watching.